5 budgeting tips and tricks that everybody should know. Are you tired of drowning in debt, struggling to pay bills, and do you just not have enough money to do what you want? I cover 5 budgeting tips and tricks to help you better efficiently and effectively manage your money to get that one step closer to financial freedom. To start things off with these budgeting tips and tricks, number 1, split your direct deposit. So with splitting your direct deposit, some have this automated service where you can split your direct deposit and a portion of it goes to your checking account while the other portion goes to your savings or your investing account. This can help negate or mitigate impulsive spending, and also it's just one of those things where it doesn't necessarily have to be part of your routine. You just do it once, setting up the automated service, and then you kind of forget about it and it does its own thing. That being said, the convenience factor is big here. It allows that automation to do all the legwork for you. And again, another benefit of this is it's offered by many employers and also a lot of banking services. And if anything, it's pretty easy to set up and you do it once, like I said, and you kind of forget about it. I had trouble with this feature just due to the fact that I was forgetting to put money aside periodically every month with my paychecks. So having this automated service now, it helps a lot and to where I don't have to think about it. And I'm curious, leave a comment if you take advantage of this feature. And also, if you get promotions or pay raises, do you increase the amount that you are putting towards your savings? Budgeting tip and trick number 2, prioritizing debt repayment. Usually these credit cards, these loans have those higher interest rates, so prioritizing your debt repayment over other expenses, you pay less interest down the road. And also just getting rid of that heavy weight to bear on the shoulders of that credit debt or just debt in general. It's nice to relieve that financial stress. Remember, reducing that credit utilization rate to 30% or below is really important towards improving your overall credit score. So also not only that short-term effect of the financial stress being lifted, but also the long-term effect of it helping you down the road if you wanted to get a car loan or maybe try and buy a house. Going back to the saving money on interest down the road, an overall reduction in cost over time, there's a certain method called the avalanche method. This is where you prioritize the highest APR and then you work your way down. Again, less money on overall interest charges. And also, if you're not reducing the total amount of capital that you are putting towards your debt payoff, even as you start to knock out these different credit cards based off the highest APR at the start, then you will theoretically get out of debt even faster because you will have more money to put towards the ladder of the credit cards. The next budgeting tip and trick, the envelope method. The main ideology behind this is the big reason we tend to overspend in most cases is because there's nothing really telling us to stop before it's too late. First, you need to analyze the areas you tend to overspend, and then you want to allocate a very specific amount of money towards these different areas you tend to overspend. Find envelopes and label them based off the categories and the total amount of money you're going to put in. And then you want to put that amount of cash in the envelope every time you get paid. You want to create strict rules to only take out the amount of money for what it is labeled, and also any change you may have after spending you want to put back into the envelope for future use. This enforces that discipline and that accountability that may have been lacking, and also reduce that impulsive spending capability. Some of these categories for these envelopes that you tend to overspend could be things labeled like entertainment, for movies, stuff like that, or food is my big thing, or clothes if you tend to like shopping at retail stores, stuff of that nature. For the next budgeting tip and trick, I'll be covering the 70-20-10 and the 50-30-20 methods or rules, something which I covered in previous video on budgeting as well. So a quick breakdown of these two methods. The 50-30-20 method, for instance, for your monthly income, 50% of your paycheck would go to your needs, 30% would go to your wants, and 20% would go to your savings or your debt payoff. For the 70-20-10 method, 70% would go to your everyday expenses and your needs, 20% would go to your savings and investments, and then 10% to your debt payoff, with the key factor being that 20% in each of these would ballpark be the amount of money you would want to keep towards your savings and your investments. The good thing about these methods or these rules is it offers a more consolidated and generalized way of allocating money towards specific categories that's less intrusive or time consuming, and it really just allows you to passively come up with a plan to help better get yourself on track if you don't want to sit down and crunch numbers and constantly be in your budget on where certain money goes and how much goes to very specific things. This kind of allows you to section it off in like a 3-piece pie chart. So for me, I personally like the 70-20-10 method because it's the most relatable one to me. Most people blow that money quick, they blow that money fast, and they blow it on their everyday expenses. Now, this does not just mean your needs, this means everyday expenses that is prevalent to you specifically. Me, for instance, being food, something I don't necessarily need to pay for the way that I pay for it. However, it's still considered one of my everyday expenses. That being said, coupling the 70-20-10 method with something like the envelope method, this could be a pretty efficient and effective way to handling my personal budget that's specific to me. Now, there's many different methods and rules out there, and you can even tailor make your own, and that's kind of what I'm recommending. Bringing up the 70-20-10, 50-30-20 methods, these are just the more prevalent, well-known methods that a lot of people use. That's the more commercialized ones to the everyday public. But you can kind of use these and create a hybrid on what is more specific to you and prominent in your lifestyle and way of living, and kind of just tailor make it to how you live your life. So for the next budgeting tip and trick, it's going to be short and long-term goals and rewards. This is to kind of incentivize yourself. If there's nothing in it for you, then kind of why do it? Having these short and long-term goals can help better streamline your vision while ensuring that you stay on track. You're rewarding yourself for hitting different checkpoints. It's important to have long and short-term goals, because if you just have long-term goals or no goals at all, it can seem pretty daunting getting to where you're trying to go. Now, these short-term goals can be anything that specifies a reward to you, such as if you want to eat dinner out, if you want to have a movie, if you want to buy a new pair of clothes, things of that nature. Sporadically holding these goals, they will carry more meaning than if you were just to do these things all the time, because it's something you work towards, it's something you accomplished, it's something you're rewarding yourself with. It's not a everyday expense now. It will also be refreshing and kind of act like a reset button and kind of streamlining your focus back on track, and you'll be ready to keep charging forward towards your long-term goals of financial freedom. Now, each of these tips and tricks are important individually, but they work best when they are worked in conjunction with each other. Be sure to check out my video on budgeting tips for 2023 to help better prepare for the upcoming year, and like and subscribe for more.